47 through 49. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and planted in his field. Though it is the smallest of all seeds, yet when it grows, it is the largest of the garden plants, and become a tree, so that the birds come and perch in its branches. He told them still another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed in about 60 pounds of flour until it worked all through the door. Once again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net that was let down into the lake and caught all kinds of fish. When it was full, the fishermen pulled it up to the shore. Then they sat down and collected the good fish in baskets, but threw the bad away. This is how it will be at the end of the ages. The angels will come and separate the wicked from the righteous. The word of the Lord. Jesus continues with telling the people that the kingdom of heaven is like. And we all know what the words mean, like. I try to explain something and you don't quite understand what it is, so I say it is like this, something that you do understand. But does that make it identical? No, it's like it, but not quite. And Jesus had to use many different parables, many different metaphors, many different examples to try to explain what the kingdom of heaven is like. I want to focus mainly today on the first two of the parables, the mustard seed and the yeast. And as you can see, the title of today's sermon is that everything starts small. Far too often we overlook small things as insignificant, as unimportant. We always look at the big things as the most important. But I want to read another verse from a small book in the Bible, Song of Solomon. A book that is quite often overlooked. I remember the first time I read it, it was about love and my lover, and especially as a teenager, I was like, why do we have this book? It's not important. There's nothing spiritual about it. When in Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 15, it reads, "Catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyard, our vineyard that is in bloom." Solomon is advising them to catch the what? The foxes, not the big animals, but the little foxes, because they are the ones that are doing what? Ruining our vineyard. Here's the truth. We live in Minnesota, and I can tell you I have these things called gophers and moles. They're little, but they sure can do what? Ruin your lawn. And if you have them, you go all to expense and trouble with traps and poison and on, because here's the thing, it's the little things that matters. I know it's the little things that matters because it's when I forget to do a little thing that my wife gets really mad at me. I could do 100 big important things, and then I forget one little thing, and guess what I hear about? You all know it. It's a little thing that matters. As a small church, it's easy for people to overlook us. But Jesus pointed out in the parable that consider the mustard seed. It's small. But if it's planted and given time to grow, it can grow into a big tree, a big bush. And in the garden, that's big enough for animals to come, the birds and other things to take shelter. But here's the truth that Jesus did not tell us. Everything starts how? Small.
matter of fact, everything that you see today, even the biggest corporation, started off as just an idea in a single individual's head. It starts out small. Think about Christianity. It started with one person, Jesus, and then he gathered a small group of followers. Only 12. Large crowds were following him, but he spent his time with a small group. Because everything starts small. And it doesn't take very long for something small to grow into something big. I don't know about you, but if you think 60 years ago, there was no Walmart. Yet it's the biggest corporation selling things all over what? The world. 30-something years ago, there was no Microsoft. Think about Amazon. It sells everything, and it's only less than 20 years, 15 the most. It all starts what? Small. Far too often we overlook small things and think it's unimportant. But even the biggest, most complicated machine, if you take out a small vital part, guess what happens? It doesn't work. Everything starts off small. You and I started out small. We think we started out as babies. In reality, we start even smaller than that. Just an egg and a sperm. So small. But yet, because we were a little seed, so to speak, we what? We grew. As a matter of fact, we grow faster when we are smaller than when we're big. Amazon, for example, were growing and doubling and quadrupling when it was small. So was Walmart. And we can go on and name corporation after corporation that are huge today. That started how? Small. So has every church. This church, over 100 years old, started off with just a few people having the idea, let's start a what? A church. And they got more, and they doubled and quadrupled, and they grew and were able to build. Yet at the same time, we overlook small things. We overlook the little contributions that we give that makes a huge difference in the life at the church. As a matter of fact, here's the truth. When it's a big thing, it cannot grow and double and quadruple easily. As a matter of fact, big corporation like Walmart, if they grow 5%, they think they're what? They're doing something important. It's the small, the nimble that can work and react. Far too often, though, we overlook the small. But in the parable, the kingdom of heaven is like a woman. She takes some yeast and she kneads it into 60 pounds of flour. The only way the bread can rise is with a little bit of what? Yeast. The flour is important, yes, but it's the yeast that makes the huge difference. And Jesus is saying we need to be like that mustard seed. We need to be like that yeast. We need to be that little part that makes a huge difference. But far too often we say, what little thing can I do that will contribute? We overlook the little things that we do. We go, oh, I'm poor, I can only give a little. Well, the church is not one person, it's all of us. We are the church, and each of and every one of us play a part. Don't undervalue the small part, because your part is as important as the part I play, or as important as any part that anyone plays. The kingdom of heaven is like that mustard seed. It's like that yeast. The last parable was that the fishermen went out and caught fish, drug them to the shore, and he put the good one in the basket. But what did he do with the bad one? Throw it away. Unfortunately, we think that all little contribution is unimportant. But here's the truth. It's the little things that mean so much. I remember the first time I held my daughter 26 years ago. I was a chaplain at Scott and White. And they did the emergency cesarean and took the baby out. And they allowed me the privilege, because I was the chaplain, to take the baby from the operating room down to the nursery. And I held her and walked. Lasted 15 seconds. A little bit of time. But I can tell you, for the past 26 years, that little bit of time have meant more to me than a lot of other things. She's now taller than I am, bigger than I am. And a couple weeks ago, when she was home visiting, I put her on my shoulder and reminded her how small she was. And in my mind, she's still what? My baby. She's still my baby. Little things mean a lot. If you don't believe it, think about all the fights you've had with your significant others. What caused the biggest problems? The little things. Solomon is right. Catch the foxes, the little foxes. They're the ones that spoil the vineyard. Jesus is right. It's the seed that has the potential to grow into something significant. We're a small church, but it's the little things that binds us together, that allows us to grow and become bigger. The word of the Lord.